points you are able to write down the notes of. You have to prepare your own notes. No doubt, I will give you the handwritten notes that I will upload on Google Classroom. But up to then, you have to prepare your own handwritten notes. That means just in such a way that at least you can write down in your exam. Okay. So what we were discussing is actually we were discussing about the a particle is falling under the influence of gravity. So there is no any other criteria acting on that, right? So what are the criteria acting on that is only a height of a particle, right? That means a z coordinate. Only z coordinate is sufficient to describe the position of the particle at any point, correct? So now these things we have already studied right now. So let us go for the next one. That means I think we have found the value of t here, right? What was the value of t we have found is 1 upon 2 m v square, that is equals to 1 upon 2 m r dot square, that is rate of change of a rate of change of a position vector is velocity, that is nothing but 1 upon 2 m z dot square. What is z? Z is a z will describe you height of a particle from where it is falling, right? We have to take one particle and or throw it from any height, and you have to observe the motion, and that is what we want to find out the equation of a motion of that particle which is falling from some height, right? So next is potential energy. So let me write down here only. So what will be the potential energy? V is equal to, it is nothing but mg h. What is h? H is a height. So h is nothing but your z coordinate. Okay. So totally what we want to find out is L is equals to T minus V. That will be 1 upon 2 m z dot square minus mg z. Okay. Height of a particle. So we can take m outside, or you can keep it as it is also, z dot square by 2 minus g into z. So this is what a value of Lagrangian L. Okay, next, what is the thing we have provided with? R is a dissipation function. I hope you remember we have been provided with the gravitational field of force, and we know that gravitational field of force is a conservative field of force. Hence, we are using L is equals to T minus V Lagrangian function. Okay, in this example. Next, we have been provided that there is a frictional force. And I have told you that in this example, we are going to use a partially conservative system conditions. Okay, the case of partially conservative system. In the case of partially conservative system, what was our Lagrange's equation? It was as it is with for conservative and non-conservative. But what is the difference? We have to add one extra term. What is that extra term? Is dou r by dou qj dot. Okay. So we have to use a case of partially conservative system in which both conservative as well as non-conservative forces are there. So as it is a gravitational field of force, we are considering the conservative case. And is it is non-conservative with the help of a frictional force. And what is the value of R? That is a dissipation function we are provided with 1 upon 2 k v square. Again, what is the value of v square? It will be directly, I can write it as z dot square, because it is nothing but it is nothing but your velocity, right? So in the case of partially conservative system, that is conservative as well as non-conservative forces, so we are provided with a dissipative force. Dissipative force means what? With the force which try to destroy the motion of the particle. Okay, so now we will have the equation of a motion, that is Lagrange's equation of motion is given by d by dt of dou L by dou qj dot minus dou L by dou qj is equal to 0 in the case of conservative and non-conservative. But in the case of partially conservative, it is dou r by dou qj dot. Now how many qj we have? For j equals to, what are the values of j? Only one, because only one coordinate, that is z coordinate, that is height, is sufficient to describe the position of the particle. right? So simply height is sufficient to describe the position of the particle. So hence we have only one coordinate. So we can say that that coordinate is q1 is equals to z coordinate. So let me write down the equation d by dt. Instead of having qj, we'll write down the equation in terms of z dot. Okay, dou L by dou z dot minus dou L by dou z plus dou R by dou Z dot. Now R is with you, L is also with you. Now you have to tell me the derivatives. Okay, L is known to you, R is also known to you. Just tell me the derivative. Hello, जागे आहेत सगळे?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
kz dot
With respect to Z dot. Okay, that is 1 upon 2, 2 Z dot, 2 get cancelled. We will have only M times Z dot, 2 get cancelled. Correct. Next, minus dou L by dou Z. Right. First term is in the L. If you see the not involve any term of Z. So derivative first term is 0. Minus of minus it will be plus. Derivative with respect to Z it is 1. So M and G the constant term will keep as it is. Plus. What is the derivative with respect to Z dot? Derivative of R. That is also K times
kz dot
2 get cancelled. So which is equals to 0. It is given to us, the equation. Now M is a constant. Again we can take outside derivative of Z dot with respect to T. Once again it will be Z double dot plus M into G plus K times Z dot is equal to 0. Right. So now we have to solve the only one equation. We have been provided with only one equation. As mass is a constant term and it is non-zero, since it is non-zero, because then only it will fall. Since mass is non-zero, so we can divide by m and we'll write down the equation once again. So let us write down z double dot is equal to, or z double dot plus m get cancelled. So what we remains is I think it's something m double dot z double dot minus काय चुकलं नाही ना minus dou L by dou Z ना L with respect to Z we have to find out. First term is 0 minus second plus okay. Right. Fine. So we have to divide by m. So let me write down Z double dot A Z dot divided by m plus G as m divided by m it will be 1, so it is equals to 0. Right. Can anyone remember which type of this equation is? Second is there, first derivative, then the some constant term. Okay, let me integrate and then you can find out. So what will be the integration of this equation with respect to t? So integrating above equation with respect to t. So it will be simply z dot plus k. Z dot will be t divided by m plus g into t, as we are integrating with respect to t, which is equal to some constant c1. Are you okay with this? If I am writing the integration directly, or otherwise I have to write like this: z double dot dt plus integration k by m z double plus integration of g with respect to t is equal to some constant c1. This is also good. Okay. So now, can anyone remember which type of this equation is?
linear differential equation, madam.
Right. It is a linear differential equation. Now, if we are going to use the initial conditions for this equation, let us assume the name of equation is A. Now, if you are going to use an initial condition, that means suppose at t equal to 0. What will be the condition at t equal to 0? Can anyone say if you there is initial condition, just like if you are at the first floor and you want to drop that object, and that means that object will fall from some height. So at t equal to 0, what will be the z coordinate? Will be 0, no? And what will be z dot? It is also 0. That means there is no motion actually. So if we are having z is 0, z dot is also 0. So we are going to put in above equation. What will be the resultant? It will be the velocity is 0, right? If velocity is 0 at initial point, there is no velocity, correct? So we can have, if you are having confusion about this, I hope you have confusion about this, because z is nothing but the height of the particle. That will describe the height of the particle, but no doubt when you have initial condition at t equal to 0, what will be the velocity? Velocity is no doubt 0, because you are at a rest condition. Right. So z dot is 0 means what? Z is equal to some constant if you are going to integrate this equation. So from this equation, I can have z is equal to some constant. That constant I can take it as 0, because constant is any term. No. To have a simplification while deriving this condition, we can consider the value of z is equals to 0. Is the idea clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So we have to put all these equations in above equation. So what will be the condition? Z dot is 0, Z is also 0, T is also 0, right? 0 plus 0 plus 0 is equal to C1. So in general, we can now say that C1 is equals to 0. So we are just going to substitute the value of C1. So the above equation A can be written as, what will be the equation A? Z dot plus K by M into Z plus G into T is equal to 0. Right. So I can write this as equals to minus of G on T. Okay, so this I can write it is equals to minus of GT. Right. So now can anyone tell me what will be the integrating factor for this equation? How you are going to solve this type of differential equation? Let me write down very similar that you remember. Dy by dx plus py is equals to q. This dy by dx I can write it as y dot plus some term p into y is equals to q. So whatever the equation we have, this is now the linear differential equation in terms of z. So this is what our equation in terms of x and y. But here this is in terms of z and t. This equation is in terms of x and y. This is in terms of z and t. So can you tell me what is an integrating factor for this equation? This one you remember.
E raised to integration P dx.
Yes, e raised to integration p dx. So for this, we are writing here. If someone. So what will be the value of integration? That is integrating factor is e raised to integration
To kz by m.
p dx. Now instead of having dx, so here it is dx, but what is here dz by dt, right? So this equation now we will write down in terms of dy by dx, like we will write down this equation just like dy by dx, dz by dt plus k by m into z is equals to minus of gt. So now instead of having dx, we have e raised to integration of k by m. This is our p into, instead of having dx, here what is a derivative with respect to t.
D.
So now the integrating factor can be written as e raised to integration of k by m dt. So what will be the integration now? Integration k and m both are constant. K is constant which is involved in r. and m is a mass. So integration with respect to t will be simply t, right? So what is the integrating factor? E raised to k by m into t. So on the next, what we have to do is we have to find out the integration. So if we want to solve this equation, I hope you remember about this. How to solve this equation? We were writing it is as uh,
Y into integrating factor is equal to integration Q into integrating factor plus C.
by into integrating factor, integration of q into integrating factor plus some constant C2. Now already C1 we have used, so we are using C2. Now instead of having y, what we have? We have z, right? So what will be the equation in here? Z into integrating factor is equals to integration of q. What is a q in this case is this minus of gt into integrating factor plus second constant, that is C2. Okay. So now let me evaluate the integration. Z integrating factor is e raised to k by m into t is equal to minus g is constant term which we can take outside. So with respect to which term I am going to integrate? It is with respect to t. Here we are going to integrate with respect to x. Okay. So what is the integrating factor? E raised to k by m. Integration is with respect to t plus c2. So hence we can have z e raised to k by m into t is equals to minus of g. And what is the integration of e raised to x?
E raised to X.
What is the integration of e raised to ax?
E raised to x upon
X upon
t,
A.
d by dt of a.
Okay, e raised to ax no. So what is the integration of a e raised to ax? It is nothing but e raised to ax divided by a na. बरोबर है?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
So what is the integration of this term is e raised to k by m into t divided by k by m, right? So this divided by k by m, I can write it as m by k. Okay, so here I will write m divided by k because this k by m we can write here. So plus what is the next term? That is second constant c2. Okay. So now here we have
Ma'am,
huh?
तिथे मायनस जी इंटिग्रेशन बाहेर काढलंय बट टी आहे ना तिथं.
Sorry, I forgot this. So this is t. So now we have to use integration rule u into v, right? Z into e raised to k by m into t is equals to minus g as it is outside. What is the rule of integration of u into v?
U into integration V minus full integration du by dx integration v dx.
U by dx integration of v dx and integration of this whole term, right? So here also we have to do the same thing, integration of t e raised to k by m into t. So for that let me keep minus g outside as it is, so we'll have the bracket this t as it is. What is the integration of this term we have obtained is e raised to k by m into t divided by m k by m, so that I can write it as m by k. So here is m, here is k, k by m can be written here, right? So this is the first term, correct? Again, if we can multiply this minus g as it is, I am just going to multiply for the second term. So integration of d, what we have to do? We have to do the derivative of this term. It is du by dx. We have keep as it is. So here we have keep t as it is. What is a derivative of t with respect to t? I will write down 1. Okay. What is the integration of the v we have found is the, let me write down, this is m by k e raised to k by m t, right? So we have to evaluate the integration of this term. Is it okay? So k by mt is equals to minus g t m divided by k e raised to k by m into t. Okay, now we have to evaluate the integration once again, right? So what will be the integration once again? This m by k as it is. Now it is once again, if we are going to take integration, again one more term, that is m by k, it will be. So I will write down directly it as m square by k square e raised to k by m into t. Plus the next constant term we can add here is c2. Is it okay with this equation?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So what we have to do now? Actually, this is what an equation we want to find out, right? The like equations of function. If we were going to find out the value of c2, right? So what we have to do on the next step? If you want to find out the value of c2,
Time t equal to 0.
no doubt at t, we'll find out the value. Okay. So here we have this term, right? So next we can have, first we will evaluate this term because e raised to k by mt here is also there, e raised to k by mt here is also e raised to k by mt. So we'll do one thing, we will divide this whole equation by e raised to k by mt. This is equal to z minus g t m divided by k. Actually, this minus also we can merge out, right? So I can keep it as plus. Okay, let me keep it as it is. We'll have it negative sign. So this e raised to k by mt also get cancelled. Minus g m square divided by k square.
मॅडम तिथे मायनस मायनस प्लस व्हायला पाहिजे ना.
हाँ इथे तेच बघते मी पण.
मॅडम
This
तिथं
is first term minus of minus integration. This term should be plus, na?
नाही
यस
मॅडम
मॅम.
नाही
Okay,
मॅडम
let me keep.
स्टार्टिंगला पोटेन्शियल ना, स्टार्टिंग वरला पोटेन्शियल एनर्जीच्या डाऊनवर्ड डायरेक्शन येईल ना.
Potential energy चा
डाऊनवर्ड
मॅम ते
डायरेक्शन
मुव्हिंग डाउनवर्ड डायरेक्शन होतं मायनस साईन होऊन.
हा मग तिथं मायनस पार्टिकल डाऊनवर्ड
I
डायरेक्शन.
understand. Here it should be negative sign.
हा
V. Right. So here it will be minus minus plus. So here also it is plus. So where is another changes? First term is not any mg. So here it should be negative, no?
मायनस आहे.
Good one. So we have to do here also negative. Here is also negative. Right. So here is also negative. This will be positive. This positive. Okay. So here what will be the term? It is negative now, no? Integration. U as it is. Integration of P minus of. Now it is okay. So it's negative. Gm square by k square. Now again we are going to divide by e raised to k by m into t. So that will be removed. Now next term plus C2. Now again we are dividing whole equation by e raised to k by m into t. So we'll keep e raised to k by m into t. Right. So what we have to do now, we can take the term gmk outside, right? So let me write down z is equals to gm divided by k outside. So what we remain in the bracket is my t minus m by k plus what is the next term, c2 e raised to minus k by m into t. This, as it is in the denominator e raised to k by mt, we can write it is e raised to minus k by m into t, right? So this is what an equation we have obtained. Now what we have to do, we have to find out the value of C2. For that, initial condition at t equal to 0, again the velocity z dot is 0. So we can integrate this to get the value of z is equal to some constant. That constant for our simplification will take as a 0. The constant we can take as any term. So this is 0, z is 0. So we have this term as it is gm by k at t equal to 0. This is 0 minus m by k plus C2. What is the value of t is 0? So e raised to 0 will be 1. So here we can now write down the value of this term is with negative sign gm by m square by k square. No? Right. M square g m square by k square plus C2 e raised to 0 is 1, which is equal to 0. From this equation we can write the value of C2 is m square into g divided by k square. So here we have found the value of a C2, right? So this value of C2 we have to put in our above equation. So we, after putting in the above equation, what will be the value? So here we can put this, okay? In this equation, we'll put the value of a C2, okay? So let me write down, this is equal to, z is equal to gm by k t minus m by k plus, what is the value of C2 here? It is m square by k square g e raised to minus k by m into t. Okay, so now we can say this is what a required equation of a motion of a particle falling under the influence of gravity. So first part we have done, we have derived the equation. Okay, is there any doubt up to this?
No, ma'am.
Okay, except that confusion of a negative sign which we have left out. So what is the next step we have to find out? Next step, it has provided that we have to find out the velocity. Okay, how to find out a velocity? Velocity is nothing but rate of change of a given position vector. So what is a position vector now? Z simply describe the position of a particle. So dz by dt will give you the velocity, right? So if dz by dt will give you the velocity, so we have to find out the derivative of this equation. Okay, this is what an equation of a motion we have obtained for a particle falling under the influence of a gravity, right? So what we have to do now, we have to integrate this equation. Let me tell it is an equation B. So let us integrate the above equation. What will be the let us differentiate above equation so that we can find out the velocity of the particle. So it will be z dot. That means we are going to differentiate this equation with respect to t. That will give you the velocity, because simply z coordinate is sufficient to describe the position of a particle. Hence dz by dt is a velocity. Hence we can say the z dot is equals to, we have to differentiate this equation with respect to t. So this g, m, k all are constant. We can keep it as it is. Derivative with respect to t, it will be 1, right? Minus m and k both are constant terms. So again the derivative is 0 plus This constant term will keep as it is, m square k square g. What is the derivative of e raised to minus k by m into t? That we will write down e raised to minus k by m into t.
Into minus k by m.
E raised to minus k by m into t into minus k by m. Right? So here we found the value of a z dot. So the second part also done. What was our second part? Find out the velocity of the particle. So let me write down in detail gm by k plus what is the next term? This m can get cancelled with this m, k get cancelled. So we can have the negative sign of this term, we can keep it here. So it will be simply 1 m by k. Get cancelled, g as it is, e raised to minus k by m into t. So what is the next equation number? We can say this is equation number C. So here we got the value of the velocity, right? Or unless otherwise you can again simplify this equation, right? So if you want to simplify this equation, it will be gm by k. Here also gm by k, so we can keep it outside 1 minus e raised to minus k by m into t. So this is what our velocity equation, right? What is our third step? We have to show that the maximum velocity is nothing but, what was our question? Maximum velocity, we have to show that it is mg by k. This is our aim to prove that, or it is our claim that we have to show that maximum velocity is mg by k. Now here we have found simply velocity. How to find out maximum velocity, that we have discussed in the last lecture. How to find out the maxima and minima, and that was homework for you people also, right? So what we have to do, this is what our equation z dot, right? So actually, if suppose you are having a function and if you want to find out the derivative, rather if you want to find out maxima or minima, what you do, you find first f dot equal to 0, then you find f double dot, which may be either greater than 0 or less than 0, depending upon this point where you have obtained for f dash is equal to 0 or f dot is equal to 0. So with the help of that, we can say the function f has a maxima or minima, right? So here, what is our aim to show that the velocity is mg by k. So what is our function now in this case? Now our function is z dot. Okay, instead of having a function f, we have a function is z dot. So what we have to find out now, firstly z double dot. We have to equate z double dot to 0. As here we have equated f dot is 0, because originally our original function is a derivative of z. So first function z dot as it is, we have to find out the first derivative of z dot, that is first derivative of a velocity. First derivative of velocity is z double dot. Okay, is the idea clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, next we have to find out z triple dot, and we have to check what is the value of z triple dot. It is either greater than 0 or less than 0. Okay, so if you understood this, let me go for the next one. That means first I have to find out the z double dot. If we have the z dot, we can find out the value of z double dot. Okay, so for finding the value of a z double dot, or rather we have to equate z double dot to 0. Let us find out z double dot and we will equate it to 0, right? So let me write down dz dot by dt, which is nothing but z double dot, and I want to equate it to 0. Let me find out z double dot, that is nothing but gm by k as it is constant term. Derivative of 1 will be 0 minus the integration, derivative of this term will be e raised to minus k by m into t into minus k by m as it is, which is equal to 0. That is z double dot equal to 0. Right, again this k will get cancelled with this k, m get cancelled with m. This minus will be plus, so v remains with g. M by k will get cancelled with k by m. Minus will become plus, so we have minus k by m into t is equal to 0, right? So we have to equate the z double dot equals to 0. If z double dot equals to 0, so what will be our equation that we have obtained in terms of z double dot? If you remember, we have obtained one equation z double dot. Okay, those who remember this equation, z double dot plus k by m into z dot minus g is equal to 0. So here if I am going to put the value of z double dot is 0, so what we remains is k by m into z dot is equal to g, or k by m into z dot minus g is equal to 0. So we have to use this equation. I can name this as equation as sum star. So using the value of z double dot in equation star. Okay, so this is the value of z double dot we have find. Okay, and we know that z double dot equated to 0, right? So if z double dot equal to 0, which means that what we have z double dot equals to 0 means what? We have to put it in equation star. After putting in equation star, we have 0 plus k by m into z dot is equals to g, right? So which means that the value of z dot is equals to mg by k, right? And which is nothing but your z dot is nothing but velocity, and hence we have found the maximum value of the velocity is z dot is equals to mg by k. No doubt we have to find out the third derivative, that is z triple dot. What will be z triple dot? As z double dot we have found. So with the help of this, we can find out the value of z triple dot, right? So let me find out the value of z triple dot is equals to, what is the value of z triple dot? G in, as it is constant, e raised to minus k by m into t. Derivative of e raised to minus k by m into t is minus k by m as it is. So I can write this as minus of kg divided by m e raised to minus k by m into t. So this term, whatever the z triple dot I am getting, it is negative. So as it is less than 0, so I am getting the maximum value. And what is that maximum value we are getting is z dot is equals to mg by k. Okay. Kalaka.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. If you are having a doubt, any other students, you can ask. Otherwise, we will go for the next example, that is Atwood machine. Okay, what we have to do in this example? First, we will start with the first one. What we have, we have a particle falling under the influence of gravity. So hence only z coordinate is sufficient. So that's why we have found the value of p. And value of v, that is potential energy, as it is in downward direction, it will be with negative minus mg h. Height is with negative. So it will, we can write a minus mg z. After writing that, we have to write down Lagrange's equation, and then from the given things we have value of r, and then as it is a partially conservative system, use the case of partially conservative system in case of Lagrange's equations of motion. And then we have only one coordinate, that is q1. So we have to just find out one equation, and we have to solve that equation. After solving that equation, you will get the star equation, that is z double dot. Now you have to integrate that equation to find out the value of z, or we can have the equation in terms of z. After getting the equation in terms of z, you have to just eliminate the values of c1, c2, whatever the constant we are getting. So after eliminating all those constant, we'll get one equation, which is equation number b, which is our first part we have completed. That is, we have derived the equation of a motion of a particle falling under the influence of gravity with some dissipative force. Next, what is our next part? We have to find out the velocity. So if you want to find out the velocity, just differentiate z, because simply z coordinate is sufficient to describe the position of a particle. So r is nothing but z. So dr by dt will be z dot, dz by dt. So hence, after finding this, we can have the value of a z dot. Now what is our aim to show in the third part is, maximum velocity will be mg by k. So initially we have to go for maxima and minima. How to find out the maxima and minima? So instead of having a function f, we have a velocity that is z dot. So we have to differentiate the z dot to get the equated to 0, and then z dot, if it is equal to 0, you have to use a equation star, and after putting in equation star you will get the value of z dot is mg by k. Then find out the third derivative, that is nothing but z triple dot. It is very similar to find out the derivative f double dot because original function is with z dot. Hence, after finding a value of, you will get it is with negative sign. Okay, as it is with negative sign, no doubt gravitational acceleration is not also zero. Sorry, it is not negative. K is not negative. Mass is also non-negative. Graph of e raised to x or e raised to minus x, it is also non-zero. So hence we are getting the value of this term is negative. So which means that the second derivative is negative. Second derivative of velocity, not the z. It is the third derivative of z, but it is second derivative of velocity. This is our velocity. We are finding the first derivative is 0. Second derivative is greater than 0. Oh, sorry, less than 0. Hence, we can say that we are getting the maxima for this function. Okay. Let me go for the next one that we will find out now. Next example is about Atwood machine. Okay. Go for the next example is Atwood machine. Okay. What is this Atwood machine? Actually, we have two masses. Up to now, whatever the examples we have seen, only one mass was there. That is, only one particle was there. If we are having only one particle, we can study. Now, if instead of having only one particle, we have two particles. Okay. That is M1 and M2. Okay. What they have done, we have one circular object, or we can say it is pulley. So with the help of this, we have one thread. With the help of thread, we have attached two masses. So assume that this is a circular type of object, or rather we can, it consists of, this Atwood machine consists of two masses connected by inextensible string, that is string which is not extensible, that is just like a spring. अगर वो spring के जैसा होगा तो masses का difference, rather the length of the string will not be constant. So hence it is inextensible means what? It cannot be extended. So it is with constant length. We have two masses, say mass M1 and another one with say mass M2, right? So the two masses M1 and M2 are connected by a inextensible string, and this string is passes through a pulley, and let the length of the wire, length of the this is hole is L. So now we have to find out the we'll keep one constant. We'll have the distance of A and B for distance of M1 and M2 from some fixed point, that is A. Okay. So if A is a fixed point, we have to find out the distance of M1 and M2 from A. Okay, if you want to find out the distance of M1 and M2 from A, length of a mass M1 from pulley is L minus X. Okay, total length is L, and what we have is we have to find out the distance from distance of mass M1 from point A or from pulley. So what will be this distance is L minus X. M1 is at the distance L minus X. So what will be the distance of M2? That means where X is the length of a mass M2 from pulley or rather from A. what is the distance of M2 from point A is X, and what is the total length of the string is L, and what is distance of mass M1 from point A is L minus X. The distance of a mass M2 from A is X, and what is the total length L minus X plus X, that will be the total length L of the pulley. So this is what a construction of a Atwood machine. Instead of having only one particle, we have two particles with masses M1 and M2. They have been connected with a inextensible string. That means it cannot be extended. It should not be like a spring. Okay, length is fixed out. So we have to fix to one point on a string. That is a point A. We have to measure the distance of M1 and M2 from point A. Is the idea clear? The construction of a Atwood machine?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Let me go for the next one. Again, we have to follow the same procedure. We have to find out the kinetic energy. But in this case, as it is two masses, we have to find out the kinetic energy as T1 plus T2. That is kinetic energy of a mass M1, particle M1 or mass M1. Kinetic energy of the second particle and first particle will give you combinedly kinetic energy of the total system, right? So for that, what we have is actually, now can you tell me what is the generalized coordinate which will describe you the motion of a particle? Yes, anyone can tell me how many generalized coordinate or which are they generalized coordinate in this example?
2.
Why two and which are those? Which are those two generalized coordinate?
R and theta.
R and
Theta.
theta. Where is R and where is theta? Whether I have drawn R and theta in the figure?
No, ma'am.
No. And there is no use of, here we can say this is a radius, but there is no use of a radius. We are having just inextensible string which is connected by two masses. Simply I can say X will describe you the position of a particle. If you
Yes,
know
ma'am.
if you know the distance of M2, you can have the distance of M1 from pulley. So simply X coordinate, that is X, will describe you or it will give you what is a motion of a particles, right? So if you know the value of X, you can find out L minus X because L is fixed out. L is a fixed length. So if you know a value of L, you can find out L minus X. That will give you the distance of mass M1 and M2 from A. So simply X coordinate will work as a generalized coordinate. So only one generalized coordinate we have, right? So for that, let us go for first one, that is kinetic energy of the first particle. So T1 is equal to, what will be the T1? 1 upon 2 M1 V square, or we can have what will be V1 square, or 1 upon 2 V1 square, it will be 1 upon 2 M1. What is the distance of M1 from pulley is L minus X. So I can have, this is what a position vector. So L minus X dot square. What is the derivative of L minus X? And then we have to find out the square of this, right? Is the idea clear? What is a velocity? Velocity is nothing but rate of change of a position vector. What is the position of the particle? It is nothing but L minus X. So what is the value? What is the derivative of this term with respect to T is minus X dot, right? Because L is a fixed length. So what is the derivative with respect to T? That will be 0. Derivative of constant term. So it will be minus X dot. So let me write down, this is 1 by 2 M1. So it will be X dot square minus X dot. As it is minus X dot, if we are going to square, it will be simply X dot square. Okay? Doubt आहे का कुठे?
No, ma'am.
Okay, let me go for the second one. I am 1 upon 2 m 2 v square. Here, this what is a position of a particle m2? It will be described by simply x coordinates. We'll have 1 upon 2 m2 x dot square, right? So hence we have kinetic energy T is equals to 1 upon 2 m1 x dot square plus 1 upon 2 m2 x dot square, which is equals to, now if I am taking 1 upon 2 x dot square outside, what we remains in the bracket m1 plus m2. So this is what a total energy with the help of T1 and T2. Okay. I hope it is okay. Let us go for next. That is potential energy V is equals to V1 plus V2. That is V1 is equals to mgh. What is the h in the case of a first particle? That is m1. No doubt gravitational acceleration is constant. So it will be as it is hanging out. If it is in the downward direction, so we can have this with a negative sign. For m1, it is the height is L minus x. As it is in downward direction, it is with negative sign. Similarly, for m2, it is with the downward direction, and what is the distance is x. So finally, we can write the value of v is equals to m1, and again it is with negative direction, so it is minus m1 g L minus x. Similarly, we can have V2 is equal to minus M2G simply x, because x coordinate is sufficient to describe the position of the second particle. So simply we can now write down the value of total potential energy is minus M1G L minus x, okay, minus this value of V2 is minus M2G into x, okay. So now we can have this gx outside. If I am taking gx outside, so it will be minus m1 gl plus m1 gx minus m2 gx. You can keep it as it is, or you can have this minus m1 gl will have as it is. The second term is with m1 minus m2. What is a common from the second and third term is g and x. So this is what our potential energy we have obtained, and the kinetic energy we have obtained is 1 upon 2 m1 plus m2 x dot square. Okay, so here we have L is equals to T minus V. So let me write down the value of T minus V. So that is equals to 1 upon 2 m1 plus m2 x dot square minus, what is the value of V we have? This minus, if we have minus minus plus, so it will be plus m1gl. This plus, as it is with negative sign, so it is minus m1 minus m2 into gx. So here we have found the value of Lagrangian L, new function Lagrangian L. Now how many generalized coordinate we have? Only one generalized coordinate, that is simply x is sufficient to describe the position of a particle, because length is fixed out. If x is known to you, L minus x is also known to you, then you can find out the position of m1 and m2 directly, right? So we have the Lagrange's equation of motion. Can I write directly with x only? Dou L by dou x dot minus dou L by dou x is equal to 0, as it is a conservative case because no dissipative forces are given to us. So now we have to just find out the derivative of L with respect to x dot. What is the derivative? 1 upon 2. This 2 will get cancelled. We have m1 plus m2. So we have, this is x dot. 2x dot will get cancelled with this 1 upon 2. Right. So what is the next term? Where first we have to see how many terms are there in L which involve x dot. So there the first term involve x dot, second term does not involve, third term is also not involving x dot. So simply the next term, derivative of next term is 0 minus derivative of L with respect to x. First term is only with x dot. So we can have the derivative is 0. Next term is with mass, acceleration and L. All are constant, derivative is 0. This minus minus become plus. So what we have, this is m1 minus m2. G is also constant. Derivative of L with respect to x will be 1, right, which is equal to 0. Is it okay? Now my m1 plus m2 will keep outside. Derivative of x dot with respect to t, I can write it as x double dot. Or in another way, you can solve that equation. That is, you can integrate that equation also. Or we can have x double dot plus m1 minus m2 into g is equal to 0. Now we can write this as equation x double dot plus m1 minus m2 divided by m1 plus m2 into g is equal to 0. Or this is what an equation x in terms of x double dot. Now in another way you can have this equation, we can write it as x double dot. If you write up to this is also okay. But if you want to more simplify, you can have which is equals to, as if you want to write down it is equal to this minus sign, if I taking outside it will be m2 minus m1 divided by m1 plus m2 into g. Now, if you are going to integrate the above equation with respect to t, what will be the integration of above equation with respect to t? It will be equals to x dot is equals to m2 minus m1 divided by m1 plus m2 into g t plus c1. If you integrate once again, it will be x is equals to m2 minus m1 divided by m1 plus m2 into g, integration of t is t square by 2 because g, m1, m2 all are constant term. So plus c1t plus c2. So you can find out the values of c1 and c2, or you can keep it as it is. You can say this is a required equation of a motion. Okay. Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, if we want to go for the next, we can have the next example also, or we can discuss the homeworks because we need a more time now here. Actually, I am going to extend up to 12:30. Kandi sir is not here, so we are going to extend a half an hour. So let us discuss the homework that I have provided to you. If you are having a doubt about these examples, you can ask, and unless we can go for next point, that is our homework questions. I had cut out.
No, ma'am.
Okay. What was the homework given to you? I think only Rutuja Sable has submitted me. She has given me the answers, but still she haven't given the answer of curl divergence. I have asked you the geometric interpretation of curl divergence because I have given you geometric interpretation of a gradient that will give you greatest rate of increase of a function. Because if you know what is the our derivative give you slope of a tangent, that is the rate of change, and what gradient, it will give you greatest rate of increase of a function. Instead of giving simply rate of change, it will give you greatest rate of change of a function, right? So for that, I hope whatever the homework I have provided, at least the question that I have asked you in the last lecture, and I have told you that this we have to use in the next lecture, that is maxima and minima, what are the consideration that you have to tell me. Okay. Yes. Who are going to tell this? मॅक्झिमम मिनिमाचं बघितलं का? मी एक कर्व पण दिली होती, त्याच्यावर मी फाइंड आउट करू शकता ना. I have told you also to go to our 12th books or Khan Academy notes or Khan Academy video lectures. You can see where you can have a clear idea how to find out the maxima and minima of the functions, and why the maxima is possible only when the second derivative is less than 0, and why there is minima for second derivative is greater than 0. And what is a second derivative? It will give you the rate of change of a slope of a tangent. Okay. First derivative is simply slope. What is second derivative? Rate of change of a slope of a tangent. Right. So in this way, I have told you to find out the answers. कोण सांगणार आहेत? I am just asking about the maxima and minima, not other questions. The questions I have asked, asking you from first lecture, but only one student submitted the answer. Okay, let me ask you one simple question. When you are going to clear your basic ideas? After completion of MSc, you are going to spend 1 year for clearing the basic idea. Then you are going to appear for interview. See, whatever the basic questions we are asking or anyone else is asking in the interview and all, it is completely depending upon the competitive exam. It may be depending on SETNET examination, MPSC, UPSC, IBPS examinations, and Indian Statistical Institute. They are also going to conduct some exam. In the Indian Statistical Institute, if you want to apply, you can have MSc Mathematics or MSc Statistics. Both posts are allowed. Okay. So for that, you can go there and you can appear for the examination. There you get the job of a one analyst. Okay. Just you have the data provided to you. You have to do analysis of that data with the help of R software, SPSS. With the help of those software, you have to do analysis. And for that, you have 3 steps. First, you have to appear for the first one, that is nothing but your prelims. And then main examination, that is first you have to go for MCQ, main examination, then interview. So this is the procedure, and there is no extra money, or I hope you knowing about what is the situation. Nowadays, if you want to be a lecturer, you have to pay more money. Unless otherwise you are in the category, right? You are knowing the rates also. What is the rate for junior college, senior college and all. So don't go for the teaching and all, because if you have a money, you can start your own business. No need to give 30 lakh, 40 lakh for anyone. If you can start a business, you can start your business at 30 lakh. At least you can get a 10% profit every month. So you are owner of your own now. So no need to pay 30 lakh to anyone. So just invest that in your any business. At least 10% or 5% profit is always there in any type of a business, right? So whenever you want to be a lecturer, I'm not saying that you should not pay, or unless otherwise if you want to pay, you want to be a teaching job, that is also good. But for that also, if you want to go for junior college, you have to qualify that criteria. That is, you must be B.Ed. if you want to teach in school or colleges, right? And if you want to teach in senior college, that is for BSc or MSc, you must be set or net, and you are knowing the rate, right? But if you want to go for any other things, that is where there is no need of money, so you can go for Indian Statistical Institute. वहाँ पे भी जो जॉब है वो एग्जैक्टली सैलरी अपने टीचिंग प्रोफेशंस का ही है, और ज़्यादा कुछ टीचिंग वगैरह भी नहीं है. Simply one working load is there, and you have to do analysis of data with the help of softwares, right? And you can go for actuarial sciences also into the crash courses and all. So you must be clear with the basic ideas. Okay, then you can go for the next level. सांगा कधी सांगणार आहेत मॅक्झिमा मिनिमा? Even I told you in the last lecture that I am going to give a hint. That simple graph will give you where is maxima, where is minima, how the nature of curve is concave, convex, where increasing function, decreasing function, when we have a derivative is zero. आठवतात का at least?
Yes, ma'am.
See, tell me, if you're not going to answer, no need to waste the time. We'll go for the next example. तुमच्याकडून काय
Ma'am, we
explain
will
करेंगे?
we will tell you homework next lecture.
Okay. In which next lecture?
Tomorrow is seminars, so Monday we will tell you definitely.
Okay. About maxima minima, right? Only I'm only about maxima and minima simply because that is what a more important topic nowadays. Actually, this maxima and minima, I hope you are knowing about this. It is used in research also, right? Rate by how much rate the bacteria is increasing. That will described by maxima and minima, right? In many, I think in the satellite also it is using what is maxima, minima, what is acceleration, velocity. All these things are done by only mathematics, right? So let me go for the next example. In this example also, we have two masses. Let me write down the example and then we'll go for the construction. Okay. 2 point masses M1 and M2 are connected by a string passing through a hole in a smooth table, right? Assume that we have a table. Okay, we have a one table, and what is given to us? The 2 point masses, that is, say this is M1, are connected through a string, and a string is passed through a table, right? Let me have this. So here is a hole. From here, the string is passed. Why I am showing dotted line? Because it cannot be passed through this. Actually, from the hole, it will go in the downward direction. Okay. So here is mass second particle with the mass M2, right? So whatever the distance from this hole, let me keep it as, say, R, the distance of a mass M1 from, say, origin, we can say, because assume that is origin, we can plot origin anywhere. So this is what x-axis and this is y-axis. The whatever the angle made by mass M1 from positive direction of x-axis, that will keep it as theta. And the total length of the string is L. The total length is L, and this is a distance r from origin to mass m1. So what will be this distance of mass m2 from origin or from the hole? It will be L minus r, right? So this is what a construction provided to us. So we have the two generalized coordinate r and theta, or you can say x and y, or you can say these are Cartesian coordinates. Later on we'll say whether they are generalized coordinates or not, right? So in this example also we have 2 point masses. Two masses are connected through a string, and string is passed through a table, and we are having a hole in the table. So m1 is at a distance r from origin, and m2 is at distance L minus r, because total length of the string is L. Okay, so r and theta will work as a generalized coordinate, because we need both the things, because we need a value of r as well as theta, because if we know the value of theta, then only we can find out the position of a mass m1, and if we know the position of a mass m1, we can find out the position of a mass m2. So in this example, again we have to go through the same procedure, right? What is the procedure? We have to find out T. What is T? T is with T1 and T2, because kinetic energy of mass m1, kinetic energy of a mass m2. Similarly, we have to find out potential energy V. Okay, that is potential energy of m1 and m2. Right? Have you understood the construction?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So let me go for T1 and T2. T1 is equal to 1 upon 2 m1 v square. What is a v in this case is, as we are saying that r and theta both are working, so we can have simply x dot square plus y dot square. Instead of writing in terms of r and theta, we'll write it as simply x dot and y dot. Because if r and theta are showing the position, we can say x and y can also show the position. You can have this is say point P with the say coordinate x and y. So simply x and y can be sufficient to describe the position of a particle, because m1 is at some position x and y with some coordinate x and y. We can describe the position. This is what our x coordinate, this is y coordinate. With the help of this, we can describe the position of the particle, right? So hence r and theta can be generalized coordinate, or you can say x and y also. And now we can have x and y, we can write in terms of r and theta, that is Cartesian coordinate, we can convert in terms of a generalized coordinate. With the help of this figure, we are going to find out the value of x and y. You have to tell me directly what are the values of x and y from the figure. Okay.
X
Let
is
me-
equal to r cos theta. Y is equal to r sin
Y
theta.
is equals to r sin theta.
Right. X is r cos theta, y is r sin theta. You have to just complete this triangle, and this is what x-axis, this is the y-axis as it is parallel to y. Then you can go for sin theta is opposite upon hypotenuse, cos theta is adjacent upon hypotenuse. These are the things you know about that. So we have found the Cartesian coordinate in terms of polar coordinate. Now let us go for the next one. We have to find out the values of x dot, y dot, x dot square plus y dot square and all. So for that, let me write down value of x dot is equal to, as we are saying that r and theta both are generalized coordinate. So while having a derivative, because the position of r is variable, no, we can put m1 anywhere. If you put m1 anywhere on the table, there the corresponding change will be there in r. So r and theta are sufficient to describe the position of a particle. So if you are going to differentiate x dot, that is if you want to find out the derivative of x, we have to consider r also. So let us first keep r as it is. Derivative of cos theta is minus sin theta, and theta with respect to t, that will be theta dot, plus next term cos theta as it is, derivative of r, I can write it as r dot. Correct? Okay, let me go for next one. Y dot is we have to keep r as it is. Derivative of sine theta will be cos theta and theta dot, plus sine theta as it is. Derivative of r will be r dot. Now what is the next step? We have to find out value of x dot square plus y dot square. What is the value of this term? We have to find out the value by using a minus b bracket square, and this is a plus b bracket square, right? Let me evaluate these values. So first term is r square theta dot square sine square theta plus r dot square cos square theta, right, minus 2 times r dot sine theta cos theta. Okay, so plus what is the next term? R square theta dot square cos square theta plus r dot square sine square theta plus 2 times a into b, that is 2 times r dot theta dot cos theta sine theta, right? So we can have this with the positive and negative, they can get cancelled, same term. So what we have is x dot square plus y dot square is equal to, now we can take the common term r square theta dot square, from these two terms we can take common, and we can have the resultant is r square theta dot square, inside the bracket we have cos square theta plus sine square theta, which is 1. Similarly, we can have these term r dot square cos square theta sine square theta. What is a common term from these two terms is r dot square. Cos square theta plus sine square theta is 1. Now let me put for t1 is equal to, what is the value of t1? We have 1 upon 2 m1. Resultant is 1 upon 2 r square theta dot square plus r dot square. Similarly, we have to do the procedure for finding the value of t2, right? What is the value of t2? If we know, because for mass m1 we need r and theta both, but for mass m2 we need only one, that is l minus r, right? Because if you know m1 you can have the value of r. If r is known to you, that will be fixed out. But now if you want to find out a value of m2, that is kinetic energy of m2, for that we need only l minus r. Is it okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So let us go for T2 is equal to 1 upon 2 M2. So the second term will be simply, we can have L minus R dot its square, right? So R is working, R is simply sufficient to describe the position, because if R is known to you, you can find out L minus R. If L is fixed out, so what is the derivative? It will be 0. So let me write down directly what is the derivative. 1 upon 2 m2 r dot square minus r dot, minus minus will be plus. So it will be directly r dot square. Okay. Evaluate करूँ का है derivative क्या येणार आहे 0 minus r dot. Okay, 0 minus r dot its square, it will be r dot square. Square of a negative term. So it will be t is equals to, what is the value of t1 we have obtained is 1 upon 2 m1 r square theta dot square plus r dot square plus 1 upon 2 m2 r dot square. Okay. So what we have to do for the next step, we have to find out the potential energy. V is equal to V1 plus V2. So let me write down first. V1 is equal to, what is a V1? M1 G H. What is the height of first particle M1? It is not having any height. It is rest on the table, na? Right. So what will be the height? It is simply rest on the table. This is only distance from the origin, but there is no height for a first particle M1. Right. So hence we can have the potential energy H is equal to 0. There is no height. So M1 G into H. What about V2 is equals to M2 G H. But as it is with negative, so we can have minus M2 G into, what is the value
L
of
minus R.
L minus R. So V is equals to what will be V? Simply value of a V2, that is minus M2GL minus R. It should be R here. Or rather, if you merge this sign, it will be M2G into R minus L. So this is a value of a V. So with the help of that, now we have to construct a new function, that is L, which is Lagrangian, which is T minus V. You have to write down the value of L is equal to T minus V. Now here, as we are having two generalized coordinates, what are those two generalized coordinates? R and theta are sufficient to describe the position of the particle. So how many Qj we have? Qj is for j equal to 1 and 2. So what is how many Lagrange's equations we have to solve for Q1 and Q2? Q1 and Q2 are nothing but R and theta. For Q1 and Q2, we have to find out the Lagrange's equations of motion, and we have to solve the two Lagrange's equations of motion if you want to evaluate the answer. Okay. The next thing we'll see in the next lecture. The next lecture will be taken by HOD ma'am. Okay. Thank you everyone. You can leave the meeting and you can go for the next lecture.